What up, venters? If you're new to the show, hit subscribe. If you've been here before, hit the like button. Actually, if you're new, hit the like button too. Guys, today I was watching a video and it was from X, and the name of the creator was Surviving the Storm, but she spelt it S-U-R-V-I-N-G, like serving the storm. And this woman is with her little toddler, okay? And she's in an apartment furnished by her friend. As a matter of fact, this was one of those guy friends that some girls have.
Every time I look at my son, I just cry because there's just no way. There's no way I put us in this position.
Now check this out. According to the video, she was best friends with this guy for 15 years. And all of a sudden, she was hard up for a place to stay.
And it's like, yeah, I might be at someone else's house, but who's to know how long this is gonna last? Like, all of our stuff is in the storage. I can't even get my soap, toothbrush, toys for my son to play with. Like, nothing. And he just laughs it off. Every time he just laughs it off. Oh, y'all don't need that right now. Don't use lights and water. And before he left, he's like, respect my house. You don't have to tell me these things. I already know that you're doing me a favor, so I'm going to do that.
So she calls him and asks, hey, would it be okay if I stayed with you for a while? And at first he said, sure, no problem. I got your back. All you have to do is cook and clean. So she's game. She comes and moves in, and all of a sudden he starts joking around about how all you have to do is cook and clean and just occasionally have sex with me.
And it's just like, before we got here at his house yesterday, he let me know, all you got to do is cook, clean, and, and have sex occasionally. I've been friends with you over 15 years, best friends with you. I've never had sex with you. Why would I do that now? That was before I came here. Laughed it off, brushed it off, but it's literally just a different story now.
Only he wasn't really joking. He was completely serious. So what we're seeing is her in this situation where, because they live next to the leasing office at this guy's apartment complex, he's basically talked her into keeping the shades closed all day, not turning on any lights, and never going outside.
Now it's to the point where we're literally in the dark. He told me don't open any blinds to let any light through, because the leasing office is right here. Be mindful of the water. We have to take a bath. I have to brush my teeth. I'm always going to be mindful of that. Before he left out to go to work, I'm about to go to work. Respect my place. Don't open the blinds. Don't go outside. Like I said, I'm in here with a 2-year-old. So that is hard. It's very, very hard.
Does that kind of sound like modern day slavery or what? So all of a sudden, this guy that supposedly had his best friend's best interest for the last 15 years reveals the truth that whole time he was really just orbiting her, probably seeing every guy she was ever with, secretly hating on them and secretly jealous, right? And he was calculating his time when she would be in need, and then he took advantage. I think this happens all the time. This is why when women put up a picture of themselves on Facebook, all of a sudden they get 50 hearts, mostly from other women saying, hey, you go, girl. But I think we all know there's usually 10 or 15 men up there saying, oh my God, gorgeous, you're beautiful. Those guys are potential orbiters. I never liked, all through my life, if I was dating a girl, I never liked when they had male best friends because of scenarios like this. There are strategies that men have where they're basically waiting in the wings for bad stuff to happen so they can swoop in like the white knight, but in reality, we all know that they're weasels. As a matter of fact, guys have liked girls for eternity. They're going to do whatever they can to try to get you in bed, especially when they're in their 20s and 30s. You get somebody in their 40s and 50s, they might be a little bit more down to earth. They're actually going to expect you to pay rent. This woman was expecting a free ride, so I'm going to put this bad on her. Also, when you have a little child, it's your responsibility not to get in these pickles, because when you're in these pickles, all of a sudden, you're going to start to have sex with people that you might not ever have sex with. Which, by the way, when he first started joking about it, she actually said, I've been best friends with you for 15 years, and we've never done anything like this. And he probably thought, yeah, do you have any idea how long 15 years is, bitch? Now take your clothes off and get in the room. God, he wouldn't even let her turn the lights on. His thinking was, if the leasing office sees you, they're going to probably want me to add you to the lease. He might get in trouble. And I think that's true. I've been at apartment complex where they tell you, don't let anybody stay in your apartment. They don't even want you to keep a dog or a cat. So they don't want you, having people join you without knowing about it. She was even saying on her video that a little boy like hers, because he looks like he's 9 months old or 1 year old, she was saying a little boy like hers needs toys and he needs to be able to play. And apparently this guy, who again, best friend forever, right? Apparently he giggled and laughed and said, yeah, you don't need all that right now. Isn't that a bummer? That all of a sudden people that were always on your side through thick and thin, all of a sudden they're literally calling the shots. You're not allowed to go outside. You're not allowed to turn on the air conditioning or turn on the lights. So she's literally sitting there crying, telling us about her horrible life in a pretty much dark apartment. Very, very sad. The reason it's sad is because a lot of us guys actually have daughters, and not a one of us wants to have a daughter that is ever in this situation. It's funny again how these situations would be ideal for guys. Could you imagine? You're a 20-year-old guy and some woman says, yeah, you can live here. You just have to make sure you cook and clean and have sex with me. Guys would go for that left and right. Women, on the other hand, it's like a nightmare scenario. I can guarantee you one thing, and I'd love your opinion on this. I can guarantee you there were some days where she was with her girlfriends, probably hanging at the club or hanging out with each other at each other's house. And I probably would be willing to bet there was probably numerous times where she brought up this best male friend with her girlfriends, probably poked fun at him. Oh, I know Joey wants a piece of this ass, but he's never gonna get to clap these cheeks. You can almost picture her laughing with her girlfriends about it, right? And then in reality, you gotta be humble, because you never know when you're gonna be on the bottom of the world. Everyone gets their chance to be at the top of the world. When you're there, be humble, be decent, be empathetic of people, because just like that, you can find yourself sleeping in your buddy's apartment on his couch in his dark bedroom as he asks you to take off your clothes. I'm not gay. God, could you imagine if somewhere out there's a dude that had to sleep on his buddy's couch and his buddy said, we're just gonna have sex every once in a while. What an absolute nightmare. Could you imagine that? Oh my goodness. This is another reason why you don't want to burn bridges in life. That's what the prequel to this is. If this was the second or third chapter, that's what the first chapter would be, right? It would be her slowly but surely burning a bridge with her parents. It would be her calling her sister a bitch word, for the 25th time in a row, and breaking that bridge, right? It would be her grandparents saying, we're tired of you, quit coming over here bumming money. That's what happens. It's her telling her manager, I quit. I don't want this job. That's what happens in life. That's why I always recommend, before you quit your job, take a walk. Before you divorce your husband or your wife, take a walk and think about it. Before you decide to step out and leave the relationship you're in, take a walk and think about it. You might be this woman in the future. And again, if you're a guy and you have to sleep with your buddy to sleep on his couch, Holy shit. Don't tell anybody. At Rule KLW says, dude presented her with the deal and she took it. Regardless of how you want to characterize him, she accepted the deal. Again, who's the bad guy in this? The guy friend looks like a predator, looks like a creep, looks like his real thoughts over the last 15 years were to have a situation like this to happen. Apparently, he was friends with her and the father of her child. So again, that just goes to show you guys that when you take your buddy over to your house, it might end up being the worst move you ever did. Everybody's your best friend and everybody's your loyal partner until they're not. There's a lot of cheaters out there. DGMK 7KD says, trading X for room and board doesn't sound so bad. She was giving it up for free before that. I have a friend right now where when I asked her how much her rent was, she told me this crazy amount. And then she told me she wasn't working, but that her landlord was really nice. And I thought to myself, that sounds like you're probably really nice to your landlord, and I didn't say anything. But you know as well as I do, people, there's no such thing as a free lunch. And if you're living at some dude's house, you're gonna have to pay one way or another. It's a horrible thing. I wish it didn't happen. But half the time it happens because of little deals like this. And there's two people that agree to a deal in order for it to happen. That's why it's so crazy. When we're young, we make these absolutely horrible decisions. The difference between a mature adult and a young idiot is that as we get older, you're supposed to learn from these experiences. Now, I don't know about you, but if she gets out of this pickle and she finds herself in her 30s with a good job, she's the type that should save money for a rainy day. This is a prime example why you should save as much money as you can, because one day you might actually need to dip into that savings. Jason Smith 760 says, these type of women don't think ahead more than about 30 seconds. That's why, again, before you break up with your significant other, before you go in and yell at the boss and resign, really think about what you're doing. This time a year and a half ago, people were urging other people to quit the job for the sake of their mental health. You know what really screws with your mental health? When you have to have sex with some dude, otherwise you're gonna be homeless. That'll really screw with your mental health, right? So again, instead of listening to all the advice you get on YouTube and all the advice you get from your friends that don't really care, take a walk and try to do some critical thinking on your own. Almost anybody can predict the future. Here's the question I have for you. Let's predict the future. You lose all your money, you're broke and penniless, and you're about to ask your friend who's want to have sex with you for the last 15 years if you can move into their house. Can you predict the future from that? Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot like what this lady's going through. That's what happens. Now, what would have happened if she would have stayed in the relationship with the father of her child? If she would have stayed in the job instead of quitting? If she would have kept a good relationship with her folks and her grandparents? You see how she could have had a better future just by being decent with her friends and family? Jesse, you don't know. You never know. If you have friends and family that are so difficult that you'd rather sleep with your buddy, then my God, you've got a horrible family. I'm sorry you're going through that. Uncle Ricky 5850 says, that male best friend about to collect for 15 years of being friend zoned, LOL. Uncle Ricky, you're exactly right. I see this all the time in life. You see some woman and she's with some goofy guy, and sometimes you find out they're married. That's because when her life really was in the shitter, he rescued her. That's what happened. If you are a good guy, you're probably going to get opportunities like this. Who can blame you for taking advantage of it? That's what's so sad. Women put themselves in these situations where guys can take advantage. And don't think it's just a guy thing, ladies. I'm sure there's some studs out there and some lesbians that are just waiting for you to have a bad week so they can, you know, claim you as their own. Capitan Sierra says the insanity living in a man's house, not being his wife, and expecting to live there for free. There goes the female entitlement. When guys tell girls, I don't want you to keep Bob as your best guy friend. Oh, well, Bob's gay, or Bob's this, or Bob doesn't like me that way. Bullshit. If Bob didn't like you that way, he wouldn't be there. No guy is gonna like that. So again, guys, look at this as a red flag. If your significant other wants to have male friends, they're gonna be just like this guy. They're willing to wait 2, 3, 4 years, because this guy was willing to wait 15. And by the way, I'd be willing to bet that sometime during the 15-year friendship, they probably did go on some friendly dates. They probably did swap some spit and kiss a couple times. You never know. D-Rich 8806 said the dude spent 15 years watching her run through a bunch of dudes who were willing to let her be homeless when it mattered most. I don't blame him. Yeah, he probably did. He probably saw every Tom, Dick, and Harry that dated this chick, and he probably knew that they didn't like her for anything more than sex. So when he had his opportunity, he was gonna get the box. Isn't that what they call it, Sean? The box. He wanted the box. Well, here's the thing, lady. More than likely, it wasn't all that. God, we have so many girls that grow up thinking that their virginity is so special and their box is so special. This guy had to watch 15 years of men going through that box. That doesn't sound very special to me at all. We're all scoundrels. This scoundrel wants you to hit subscribe and hit the like button. And come back again tomorrow. We'll walk again. Guys, this is how quick and easy it is to take a 20 or 30-minute walk. And if you do it every day, you'll be burning 100 to 150 calories every single day. I don't know about you, but to me, that sounds like an excellent plan to keep your weight in check. And here's some advice for you. Don't get in a bad situation where you have to sleep with some dude to sleep on his couch in the dark. I'll see you tomorrow.